I'd like to speak as a relatively new member. My name is Eileen Boswell. I'm a special librarian at the Community Transportation Association of America. And when I go to DC SLA events, I often find that I'm one of the younger people in the room. And it's very easy to be intimidated by the wealth of experience that I have a great deal of respect for in this room, especially Susan Piper Candy, who's my library hero. But occasionally I find that it's an asset to be a new member and to have that perspective, especially looking into the next 100 years. And so I'd like to ask a question as a young librarian, as a young member of this organization. There will be special librarians in the future, and I intend to be one of them. And I respect the research that has shown that the organization needs to align itself. And one consequence of that alignment is that the lens is shifting. That's in fact what has shown to be necessary. But I think that when you shift the lens, inevitably, some people will be left out. Now, I'm one member and I have one vote, but I do feel that I'm more represented by Special Libraries Association, as does my employer. And so with my one experience and my one vote, because the vote is not just on the research, or else we wouldn't have to have a vote, it is also on our views and our opinions and our experience. There is that lens shift, and there will be a few people, probably more than a few, but at least me, there will be some people for whom SLA is a more appropriate name. So my question is, what case would then be made to me as a new member to renew my membership if I and my employer find that Special Libraries Association is actually much more appropriate to represent the work that I do?
Would it depend on the name or what was being offered by the association? In the last number of years, I've seen this association provide so many resources. I've been in it for a long time, more than I've ever noticed and had in the past. So would that carry weight with you? I mean,
I'm saying that I know what the choice is, and I intend to vote no, and I don't want somebody to tell me how to vote. But I do want. But what I mean to say is, I'm prepared to respect the outcome and not pass judgment. But if then I calmly decide that this organization doesn't represent me, and not with any kind of bitterness, but then my employer and I decide that it's perhaps not appropriate for me to belong and pay dues, you know, what would somebody then say to me? Do you acknowledge that there will be a certain number of us who will sort of shift into some other organization?
Would you do that based on the name or based on what it had to offer?
Well, that's where this thing about what's in a name gets very confusing, because if it isn't that meaningful, then it seems like there's a lot behind this for some. It seems like it's downplayed when it gets criticized, and yet there's all of this resources being put into the name change.
What I'm asking is would the name of the association then carry more weight for you than what it offered? Would that be the deal breaker?
It carries something. It's part of it. It is part of it.
Programming.
And especially for my employer, because the employer doesn't know everything that I get out of it, but they do pay my dues right now, and they know it as Special Libraries Association, and I could probably make the case to them for something else, but there'd be more head scratching.
But for you personally, the name would, rather than the content?